Hey, how's it going? It's News Acc Wednesday, 12th of May 2021. We're looking at the front of the papers. First up, New York Times. Pictures from airstrikes yesterday in the Gaza Strip. Headline is Israel and Hamas escalate attacks worse than 7 years. Okay, no comment. Down the bottom, something about the NRA trying to declare bankruptcy to get around regulators, but they've been brought to court and they're not having it. Drop in births risk stunting China's growth. Okay, population fall story from China. Down the bottom, panic over pipeline shutdown. So the Colonial Pipeline is shut down and gas stations in the southeast sold out of fuel, and some airlines took steps to avoid service disruptions. Okay, so fairly big story in the US. New York Times International Edition. Picture on the front from a Czech village where there's a big army base, and there was an explosion there in 2014 and they're alleging that it was a Russian sabotage operation. On the left, opinion piece from Thomas L. Friedman, self-confessed radical centrist. Israelis ask, is this the big one? And down the bottom he says, this has people asking, is this the big one? Is this the start of the next Palestinian uprising? Okay, no comment. On the right, pregnancy suppressed for Muslims in Xinjiang. Some human interest story down the bottom and an ad for Dior. Wall Street Journal, gas lines grow on the east coast as fuel pipeline remains shut, so pictures of people queuing at gas stations. On the right, fighting between Israel and Hamas escalates. Broader conflict looms as airstrikes pummel targets in Gaza after rockets reach Tel Aviv. Okay, no comment. As ransomware attacks rise, consequences get more severe. That's about the pipeline. Credit card debt falls, bruising banks. Okay, that's a good story. Good to hear that. Next up, USA Today, pipeline hack again. Afghans who aided US panic as troops depart. Okay, so stories about civilians who helped out the army, local guides kind of thing, and now they're applying for visas, but it may take up to 3 years, so a lot of them were worried they're going to be killed by whoever moves into the power vacuum, most likely the Taliban. Story down the bottom, human interest, why some black teens thrived with remote school. Students affirm identity and evade classroom biases. Okay, it's good for some people then. Financial Times, there's Queenie sitting on her very modest throne. Queen's speech was yesterday, pretty boring. Don't know if anyone tuned in. I did, wasn't great. Cameron deluge Whitehall in Greensill lobbying bid, file show. Okay, so the ex-premier tried 56 times. David Cameron was lobbying people all over the government and the Chancellor and all sorts of people. Down the bottom, Fed and ECB play down inflation concerns as global markets sell off. Okay, so things heating up, could be heading for another financial crash. Bit overdue by now. Irish Times, top left, commercial property. TikTok agrees 15-year deal for new Dublin Docklands office, presumably so they can evade tax or whatever. Picture on the front here, people hugging and crying, and this is the Ballymurphy massacre. There was an inquest yesterday. This happened 50 years ago. Innocent civilians were shot dead by the British Army in Belfast, and the coroner's inquest found they were all innocent. People knew this for years, but now it's been officially admitted in a court. On the left, government may raise stamp duty to deter bulk house buying. Okay, it's cuckoo fun story. Heavy rocket attack on Tel Aviv area kills woman and injures 25. All right, no comment. Picture Boris down the bottom. Irish Examiner, rental prices soar amid property shortage. All right. Fears that families feud escalating in Cork. That story is still ongoing. People getting arrested. Facebook moderator to tell of awful content she views. So this story is that there's a woman who works for Facebook reviewing all the hateful content and things like this, horrible content that has to be taken down, and she's going to give evidence to a government committee about how she suffers crazy nightmares and stuff every night, and it's really affected her. Down the bottom, Ballymurphy story again. Israel unleashes new airstrikes, no comment. Irish Independent, Ballymurphy massacre on the front again. The relatives celebrating. Cost of rent has now doubled in a decade. It says here the average monthly rent stood at €1,443. If you're on the minimum wage, that's basically most of your wages, somewhere between 70 and 80%. I'd have to look at the exact figures, but that is really crazy figures, to be honest. Irish Sun, vaccine stuff. Girl 11 died, rest in peace. Football, celebs. Irish Daily Mail, something about haircuts. End maternity ward rules, let partners go into the maternity ward as well. Celeb news. The Guardian, football. Warning that Johnson's ID plan risks freezing out over 2 million voters. Basically, Boris Johnson is trying to do what the Republicans did and suppress voters by requesting certain types of photo ID. He's also going to set something where he can call the election whenever he wants. Doesn't have to be 5 years. So sounds like, yeah, pretty nasty tactics there. Ballymurphy story again. Netanyahu vows more attacks in Gaza crisis. No comment. Daily Torygraph picture for yesterday from Israel as well. Hamas unleashes broadside after Israeli airstrike. No comment. On the left, social media firms that fail children to be bards. That was in the Queen's speech yesterday. They're going to clamp down on social media firms and basically have to control the content that's on there. Headline here is Sussexes to work with consumer goods giants. So that's Kate and William are pairing up with Procter & Gamble, presumably to sell you some shit you don't need. Down the bottom, Ballymurphy ruling. The Tory graph have worded this amazingly, really. Like, I mean, I don't know how people get away with this, but they've written a former paratrooper faces prosecution over the Ballymurphy massacre. It's in inverted commas, after a coroner ruled yesterday that 10 entirely innocent, also in inverted commas, victims were shot dead by British soldiers in Belfast almost 50 years ago. What more can you expect from this rag of a paper, really? Other stuff, vaccine story, Cameron story, markets tumbling. All right, next up, the English Independent, 4 stories across top. As always, what have we got? Queen's speech, Israel, travel, something about football, Ballymurphy story, David Cameron lobbying story, English Times, fashion stuff. Picture the Queen and her crown being carried along beside her. Kind of sad we don't get to see her wear it anymore. Headline, new laws to protect university free speech. Government calls time on student cancel culture, which is not in inverted commas, so it should be, in state opening of parliament. So basically, student unions will be legally obliged to protect freedom of speech for the first time and could be taken to court by cancelled speakers. Of course, very important issue. Down the bottom, David Cameron, Ballymurphy, Tel Aviv hit an attack, no comment. Global stocks tumble, no more tax rises, okay. iNewspaper, Queenie, celeb stuff, Gaza heading for war, no comment. David Cameron, Ballymurphy, some other stuff, the truth about menopause, okay. Metro, celeb stuff, Queen back in the office at 95. I mean, it's a pretty nice office, and she's only there for 10 minutes, so pretty easy going. Daily Mail, celeb stuff, given out about the government not doing enough for social care for elderly people. Daily Express, football, true crime, picture of the Queenie, our land of hope and opportunity. Good luck with that, Boris. Daily Star, lottery, football, something about them not doing a reenactment of the D-Day landings on a Devon beach because the weather's going to be bad. All right. Daily Mirror, celeb stuff, football, true crime. That's it for the day. If you want to stay off corporate media, just click the link in the description. All right, have a very good day. Bye-bye.